The Nemesis. These player-made crises can put the Stellaris universe in bigger peril than ever before, forcing the entire galaxy to work together to have the faintest chance of defeating them. No one can stand in their way, except... That's right, I'm teaching you how to grow stronger than the Nemesis as a machine empire. While you were off having friends and going outside, I min-maxed the mathematically perfect machine empire. But before I can show you the build and the plan, we have to set a goal. We need to know how strong this build has to be exactly. So I looked up this playthrough by Lathland, quite a good player. Around 23-25 is when he all-out attacked the galaxy. At that time he had 2092 ships and one fleet of 102 ships at 63.9k fleet power. This means in total he had about 63.9k divided by 102 times 2092 equals, off the top of my head, that's 1.3 million fleet power. We'll have to make an empire that beats that. This is my build. I've said before, pops are the most important resource in Stellaris. Oh boy, are we gonna have a lot of those. I gave us rapid replicator and mass produce to help with that. And we have driven assimilators. The first advantage of driven assimilators is that we can have both cyborgs and robots. This means we can have even more pops, and that we can specialize them. I made our robots good at energy and cyborgs good at research. The second advantage of driven assimilators, we'll get to that. For now, my grand plan can start. I recorded an example game to show you how to use it in practice, and I'm gonna explain the plan as we execute it. This is how the game started. And here we are the homeowners. Let's begin. So first we'll take a look at our planet and we'll see that our robots are already making a ridiculous amount of energy each. Okay, so with this set up, let's get our science guy and start telling him to survey the ever-living heck out of everything he encounters. And luckily there seems to be a ton of planets nearby, so we should be able to do this rather quickly. It would have been embarrassing if there weren't any, because our entire build is based around expansion. So I'm gonna start exploring, I'm gonna start colonizing these planets, and I think I'll check back with you in some time. Have fun listening to editing me. Thanks for recording me. I don't mean to interrupt the grand plan, but last time I did one of these bits it worked well, so keep watching. Seriously though, people watch the last Stellaris video longer than anything else on my channel, so I felt like I should say thank you. Anyway, there's some crazy robot math coming in this video, so I won't hold you up any longer. Let's get back to the plan. Of all the resources you can make your pops produce, technology is by far the most versatile. After all, tech can get you better fleets, better resources, even better tech. So if you're rushing tech, you're really rushing everything.
So is it any wonder people are afraid of technology?
We're gonna focus tech as much as robotly possible. How? Through pure expansion. Forget all those other empires, forget everything except building tech worlds and colonizing. I would put Rule Britannia on if I hadn't already found some music. Of course, the other empires might not like the fucking Borg being right next to them. What? Geneva Convention? I can't hear you over the sound of efficiency. That definitely won't become a problem later. Let's see what Recording Me's been up to while I was explaining the plan. He seems to be upgrading ships. And if we look at our first fleet, I'm going to, not disband, strip it of all of its components, and then upgrade the ships. And that will save us a tiny bit of alloys. No idea what he's on about. Let's talk about what he should be doing right now. Building up his machine world and colonizing research worlds. In this build, research worlds are responsible for tech rushing using the cyborgs, meanwhile machine worlds use the robots to make resources to support the research worlds and the colonization. And now what you've all been waiting for. Math. Yay! YouTube hates it when you spend time on math, so I'll do this as fast as I can. I need you to figure out the optimal ratio of research worlds to machine worlds and how fast we can expand. How fast we can expand is easy. This builds more than enough pops and resources, so we're limited by influence. To justify the amount of influence we get per month by the cost of a starbase, fortified by 135 is of course 0.02963, don't bother with a calculator. I then recorded a bunch of values by my 2 types of planets and made this little graph calculator thingy. It will show you how many mineral and alloy districts we need and whether our energy is in the plus. We just have to play around with the fraction of planets that are research worlds and make sure our energy is alright. And then do what the machine says. And, you know, recalculate the values every single time you get a new tech or something changes. And with that, it looks like Recording Me is expanding rapidly. I already have my first research world well underway. Don't think that we only have one colony though by the first decade. Oh no, this build is gonna expand really quickly, trust me. We already have the second and third planet on the way. Let's go over to the math. So now we can use this graph to tell us stuff about how we should order our machine worlds. So for example, mineral districts, it thinks we should have a ton of those. I think I'll adjust what I've been doing now to include more mineral districts. In 10 years or so, I'll get back to you and we'll see whether it worked. And with a finalized, mathalized expansion plan, I was off to a good start. To increase your attention span, I will now structure the rest of this video like a little story. Chapter 1. Beating aliens. We really don't want this, because we don't want to get boxed in. I'd say diplomacy is probably the biggest weakness of this build, simply because it can't resist any attack, but we're also driven a simulator, so everyone hates us. Oh my god, look at this. They have star bases here, they have a fucking planet here. It's an entire empire. This tiny little bridge right here is our only hope for any further expansion at all, so... yeah. You're not gonna believe this. So what happened, right? An asteroid was heading for our planet. And while I wasn't looking, they just sent their entire fleet straight into my territory. And like, on one hand, like, nice of you, but on the other hand, like, what the fuck? And you get an envoy. And you get an envoy. Oh hi there. I've been keeping the peace by juggling all of these envoys between empires, trying to keep their opinions not so low that they will declare war on me. And with that, I finally convinced them to trust me. And look, I decided to get under the admin cap. I did this because... wait a minute. That's not a story, that's math. Fuck it. So I made this spreadsheet that calculates the amount of research equivalent each bureaucrat produces. All you have to do is enter this stuff and it will tell you whether it's optimal to get bureaucrats. From that point on, you should stay under the cap. Meanwhile, recording me has also been doing a lot of math to calculate this expansion. I wonder how much fun he's having. You know the drill after 10 minutes, entering getting kind of I love doing math instead of coding. Oh boy, it's time to recalculate some values. Yeah. Let's just say it was a blessing in disguise when I was forced to break the plan. We are still boxed in on all sides, which is why, contrary to all of my plans, I have built a war fleet, because we will be testing out the second advantage that driven simulators have. Unlimited total warfare. I really wanted this to be a peaceful run, but I must stop the crisis at any cost. Your sacrifice will be noted, but resistance is futile. It is 2282 and they finally surrendered. Right now, we are assimilating their population. Also, while the war was going on, I pulled a sneaky here and took these planets. With that, we sort of arrive in the final home stretch of the expansion phase. I'm gonna do the math one more time so I can figure out how much machine worlds we need and how much research worlds we need, and then I'm gonna build up to the final phase of this plan. While recording me prepares, allow me to explain the plan's final phase, which involves, you guessed it, another fucking spreadsheet. So far we've been focusing on research, but research can't kill the Nemesis. For that we need to turn everything around and optimize fleets. First I made two ship designs, one all-purpose OP battleship and one anti-corvette cruiser, because Nemesis love their corvettes. I grouped them into fleets of 20 plus 8 is... 28, and made this beauty. It calculates the amount of strongholds and districts we need for a given amount of fleets, so after I entered that, I was off to rebuild my entire empire. I've already looked at the spreadsheet, and it's told me that we need more mineral districts and alloy districts. And we need to convert as much of our buildings into strongholds as possible for our naval capacity, so I'm going to be busy with that. It is 2325. I have a grand total of 1.1 million fleet power. Combined with this Ascension perk, which gives me plus 50% damage to endgame crisis factions, and the fact that our ships were specifically designed to counter theirs, that should mean we can comfortably defeat the Nemesis with all important resources in the plus. Not to mention, we could have actually built more ships, but I just ran out of time and alloys. So yeah, beat that. But could it actually defeat a 1.3 million Nemesis fleet? Yes.